Hi, this is Michael Rizzo. Our next adventure in Linux will be setting up public and private SSH keys in macOS, Linux, and probably other Unix distributions. FreeBSD might be the same, but again, look that up. Well, today we're going to set up public and private SSH keys for Linux and macOS 10. So our first step is we need to generate a key pair. Go into your terminal, either SSH in or have a physical connection to the machine, and type ssh-keygen-t RSA. This will not be listed in the video, but you can look it up in a tutorial. Again, that command is ssh-keygen-t RSA. And it'll just, you set up the passphrase, the file, and then you're going to do SSH copy ID to the machine that you want. It's like SSH username at IP address with the port that you selected. So just make sure you have all that. You might have a little sheet with the information, and that's okay. So once you hit that, you're going to ask for your password. It's going to be authenticated, so put the password in for your system. Now it's going to say you want to check the machine. Run the command in quotes, ssh-p117. Username and IP address would be what I used, but it might say something different. Just follow the directions it says. So now we're actually testing the SSH connection. And we got no password, so that means everything worked out nicely. And this set of instructions will be similar for CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Red Hat, Gentoo, Arch Linux. They're all pretty much the same. And the next step we need to change is we need to change our SSH to prohibit key password logins and just be logged in based off the key that it was sent. So now we're just SSHing into that to change the settings. But right now I'm just setting up all for my Linux virtual machines with the proper public-private SSH keys. In around 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to have all that set up, and then we can go from there. Do the same thing as before, type your password in, do what it says, check the connection, and then once we have all the connections, we can change each one for the connection to be based off of a public-private key versus a password. So we're just waiting for this to be finished. Shouldn't be more than a few minutes. Just sit back and enjoy. Now that we see that we SSH'd in correctly, everything's working good. And then the etc/ssh/sshd config file, you want to comment out the option root login prohibit password. This will tell the SSH login system to only accept public keys. Now you're going to restart the SSHD server on the server side. for the server you want to enable. Then you go back in, and everything works. And this step will be the same for any Linux distribution. Go find your permit root login, prohibit password. Be sure when you're in Vim to make sure you run it as sudo. So that way you can write changes to the file. Once you do that, write and be done, and then you can restart the server. Now we're about to restart the server. Turns out it doesn't need to be restarted because everything looks good when you run system.stl status ssh. Another way to tell is if you run system.stl status ssh and you see accepted public key from the IP address, you're fine. You might have to reboot the system. So if that doesn't work, try rebooting it, and that's probably the right way to do it. And again, just to go over one of the previous steps, we want to send the public key over to the other server, so that way we don't have to use passwords and they can talk to each other without having to use passwords and be nice and secure. Again, you use SSH, copy ID, username at the IP address that you can access the virtual machine or physical machine from, and then follow the directions. It'll tell you to log in, accept the known host, and then go and test it out. Should work. Again, this can be done by running system.stl status sshd and seeing what it says. If it says accepted public key, then you've done it right. And now I'm doing it for CentOS, which it seems to already have the key. So we're going to test that out, and it should work the same way as we're doing it for Ubuntu or Debian. So right now we're about to do that and see what happens. Should work just fine. Right now we're SSHing in. Right now it's working just fine. Now we're going to change the file to permit root log. Now we're going to change the file so we can log in with just the key instead of the password. Now on CentOS it's a little different. I believe its password authentication should be no. So again, if you're doing this on CentOS or Red Hat based systems, look up that change. Otherwise, all of the previous instructions will be the same. Again, we're showing this inside a CentOS virtual machine. We're looking for the option that does that. Not familiar with CentOS as Ubuntu, so it's going to take a little longer to find, but not too much longer. Obviously it's not there, so we're going back up to look for that option. Okay, so apparently for CentOS, it's permit root login, but change yes to prohibit password. So the option is the same. Sometimes it's not. It might depend on the version. CentOS, just look that up if you're ever confused. So then you write it. Make sure you write it as a sudo, so that way you can write the changes. Now you're going to restart the SSH service like you did in Ubuntu. And right, put in your password like in Ubuntu. Then you're going to check the status. You're going to SSH in. And then in the virtual machine, under System SDL, status SSHD, check to see if you get something that says accepted public key from the IP address you're connecting from. If you did that, you did it correctly. Alright, now we're just connecting in. PuTTy's a little different, but if this were from Linux, this would be the same. You wouldn't have to do the password. But I can guarantee you from Arch it does work. Now we're going to go back into the CentOS virtual machine. And that's the end of this lesson for today in the exciting ventures of Linux. Stay tuned next time and see what we do next. Have a great day, and we will see each other later.